Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you today about the RODAM study and for such a very nice program. So I've been asked to talk about the research on obesity and type 2 diabetes among African migrants. So it's not purely on diet, but it's a little bit of component, give you an idea how we can also get insight into context in terms of food environment. And hopefully what I hope that, in future, this might also open opportunity for work. So first of all, let me see. Oops. It seems like, yeah, sorry. It's working now. So this is basically a work that was funded by European Commission in 2012. And basically it's research on obesity and type 2 diabetes. I'm sure that many of you have heard about the RODAM study. So it's currently a very, very well-known cohort. It's a multinational study. So just to make it very clear that non-communicable diseases, as have already been mentioned, is a huge, huge problem in lower middle income countries. And we know that about nearly 80% of these are happening in lower middle income countries. What we also know is that the minority population, migrant population in high income countries have also been very much affected by non-communicable diseases. And of course, the African migrants is not exception. In fact, they are one of the groups that have also been very, very hardly affected by non-communicable diseases. So the RODAM study was actually set up to gain more insight into gene and environmental interaction in obesity and type 2 diabetes, and to help us to identify important risk factors that's actually driving this, NCDs burden among these migrant communities, and more importantly, use this information to target prevention models, and also to improve treatment among these populations. So this is basically the conceptual model. Because of time, I won't be able to, but the main idea is that if migrant population migrate, they basically get exposed to different contexts, and these contexts can shape their behavior in terms of life risk factors and others, and also epigenetics, and subsequently lead into the differences in health outcomes. So that is the model that actually used within the RODAM study. So what we actually did within this study is that we used Ghana. We basically collected data in rural Ghana, and then the urban Ghana, and then the Ghanaian migrant that's migrated to 3 European countries. In other words, cities here, those that are migrated to London, Amsterdam, and Berlin. And we sampled about 1,250 from each of these groups. But as you could see, in some of these here, places like Berlin, they couldn't catch the numbers because they were not experienced in data collection, but it's improved now. So Amsterdam, we made up for it. So because it's half, I'm just going to go very quickly into the some of what we've done. So these are the team that we set up in Ghana, sort of going to the rural communities and the urban communities to collect data. And this is in Europe. Basically here, this is my team here in Amsterdam celebrating, talking about diabetes, but forgive me, they were celebrating it. And then we have London. So basically that's how the study were collected. And to do the type of study, it's very important that we ship all the samples into one center. So all the samples were shipped from all centers to Berlin for the biochemical characterization. And to give you some of the examples, I mean, if you look at obesity, this is what is happening in a rural Ghana, and this is what happened in urban, and this is what happened in European countries. There's a huge disparity. So clearly environmental factors seems to play a very, very important role in terms of obesity. The same thing also applies to diabetes. Again, here, this is the rural Ghana, and this is what is happening in urban Ghana and then in Europe. But actually, in particular, in urban Ghana too, it seems like the diabetes rate is also very, very high. So urban Ghana is also experiencing a huge upsurge in terms of NCDs. And of course, when you publish this work, I mean, New York Times picked it up, and actually they put it very nicely that, you know, when obesity was rising and then Ghana embraced fast food, then came KFC. And that's really brings the importance of the food environment here. And again, this is the food part that you look at. You look at intake. And what you see here is actually the blue one, green one in my screen is Ghana, and then the yellow is urban, and the red is for migrant population. So you clearly see a huge disparities in terms of diet, you know, moving from the rural to urban and then to the, migrants. So if you take, for instance, soda and juices, this is basically the rural Ghana. I beg your pardon. And this is what is happening in urban Ghana, and you see what is happening in Europe. So environment appear to have a huge impact in terms of diet that we eat. And this is also equally happening in the urban centers as well. So the food environment is certainly differs compared to where you live and whether it's rural or urban. And luckily, now we have opportunity to basically to transform this study into a prospective cohort. And I think it will be one of the key studies in the world that actually look at the migrating African population in Europe and those living in the rural and urban Ghana. And again, we are collecting a detailed diet. So those of you that are interested in this, you are almost finished the data collection. So you can always get back to us and then we can work together. And those of you that are in food, others can use these databases for their own work. And of course, this type of work as well, I think is very, very important that this type of work that we do, you don't just do it and publish it and become fame or some, but the most important thing is actually translating it into the ground to make a difference. So because of this, we are doing a lot of implementation research now to really have an impact. And this is basically in Amsterdam, for instance, you've trained a lot of Ghanaians from different churches so that they can be gatekeepers in their own churches and provide the necessary information to their church. And we also set up a very interesting programs, for instance, called Your Health is Your Wealth program in Amsterdam, whereby you bring all the community leaders, the African migrant communities, and then the medical student, also from different ethnic background, to provide information to the African communities in Amsterdam. And this is being emulated in many parts of the world as well, as I speak. And of course, this one too, we've also basically did a conference in Ghana. And because of that, we also use it to train a lot of people. I think the project so far has trained over 10 PhDs, and many of them from Ghana, as I speak. And also, I think what is actually very important is that because of this project, we've set up a very strong collaboration between my university and University of Ghana. I've actually set up a memorandum of understanding. And now last year, not this year before, you set up, summer school whereby we collaborate between different institutions. So we all come back to Accra and then we can actually provide training, which I think is very, very important. And this is also having an effect. And I think that the study has actually generated so many programs, so many interesting work as I speak. So this type of work provides tremendous amount of opportunity to move on. So yes, we are collecting the data. So those of you that are interested and want to look at the diet in details, you can always get in touch with us and then you can collaborate with us. So there are almost about 50 papers have already been published from the RODAM study. So those of you that are interested, you can go into the RODAM website and then you pick it up. You can get all the data you need. If you go to Midline, just type in RODAM study and you can get a lot of data. They've also published over nearly 7 papers on diet. So that is about it. So thank you very much. I hope I keep time. So over to you. Thank you.